On a dark, dark hill, there was a dark, dark town. In the dark, dark town, there was a dark, dark street. In the dark, dark street, there was a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark staircase. Down the dark, dark staircase, there was a dark, dark cellar. And in the dark, dark cellar, some skeletons lived. Let's meet the skeletons. They're puzzled and they don't know what to do. They have to come up with something to do. There was a big skeleton. There was a little skeleton. And there was a dog skeleton. What shall we do tonight? Said the big skeleton. Let's take the dog for a walk and frighten someone, said the little skeleton. The big skeleton and the little skeleton and the dog skeleton decided to go out through the dark, dark street and frighten somebody. So the big skeleton, the little skeleton and the dog skeleton left the dark, dark cellar, climbed the dark, dark staircase and stepped out into the dark, dark street. They walked past the houses and the shops. They walked past the zoo and the police station. They went into the park. They went into the park. What shall we do now? Said the big skeleton. Let's play on the swings and throw a stick for the dog, said the little skeleton. Uh-oh, the dog skeleton needs an ambulance. The big skeleton and the little skeleton played on the swings. They threw the stick for the dog. Woof, said the dog. He chased the stick and bumped into the tree and ended up in a pile of bones. Look at that, the big skeleton said. He's all come to pieces. Let's put them together again.
The toe bone's connected to the foot bone. The foot bone's connected to the leg bone. The leg bone's connected to the hip bone. The hip bone's connected to the backbone.
The skeletons put the dog skeleton back together, but the wrong way round. Oof-wah, said the dog. Oh, woof, said the dog. Boo, said the dog. Waffle, said the dog. At last the dog was properly put back together again. The big skeleton and the little skeleton sang another song.
These bones can walk again, can run around in the park again, can frighten people in the dark again.
The big skeleton scratched his skull. That reminds me, he said. We forgot to frighten somebody. Let's do it on the way home then, said the little skeleton. So the big skeleton, the little skeleton and the dog skeleton left the dark, dark swings, went out into the dark, dark town and tried to frighten somebody. The big skeleton and the little skeleton walked through the dark, dark town towards the dark, dark zoo. They saw a giraffe. They saw a fish. They saw a mouse. They saw a parrot. They saw a pig. They saw a snake. And they had a ride on an elephant. They left the zoo. When they were back in the street and when they still could not find anybody to frighten, the big skeleton said, "What shall we do now?"
The big skeleton scratched his skull and said, "What shall we do now?"
"Let's frighten each other," said the little skeleton. "Good idea," said the big skeleton. "What a brain," thought the dog. The skeletons found all ways to frighten each other. The big skeleton said, "I'm going to get you." The little skeleton hid under a drain pipe and said, "Got ya." The little skeleton said, "Boo!" The big skeleton and the little skeleton were chasing the dog and said, "Meow." The dog skeleton chased the skeleton and said, "Woof, woof." The big skeleton jumped out of a tree and said, "Boo." The little skeleton jumped out of behind a bin and scared the dog skeleton. The little skeleton hid in the laundry and went, "Ooh." They carried on fighting each other all the way home. And that is how the story ends. On a dark, dark hill, there was a dark, dark town. In the dark, dark town, there was a dark, dark street. In the dark, dark streets, there was a dark, dark house. In the dark, dark house, there was a dark, dark staircase. Down the dark, dark staircase, there was a dark, dark cellar. In the dark, dark cellar, some skeletons lived. They still do. The end.